Have you ever met someone who feels older than their age? Not just mature, but tired in a way you can't quite explain. The kind of person who gives advice like they've lived 3 lives, but still struggles to feel like a kid. What if I told you some children don't grow up? They skip childhood entirely? Picture this: a small child sitting quietly in a room full of adults, not playing, not laughing, just listening. They understand things they were never supposed to understand yet. Arguments, stress, silence. While other kids are learning games, they're learning survival. This is the psychology of a child who grew up too fast. And chances are, you know someone like this. Or maybe it's you. Growing up too fast doesn't always look dramatic. It's not always about trauma you can see. Sometimes it looks like a 10-year-old who comforts their parents. A teenager who never asks for help. A child who says, "It's okay, I'll handle it." They become the mature one, the responsible one, the easy child, and everyone praises them for it. But here's the paradox. The very thing people admire is often what cost them their childhood. There's usually a moment, not loud, not obvious, but something changes. Maybe it's when they realize no one is coming to fix things. Maybe it's the first time they hide their tears because crying doesn't help anymore. Or the moment they think, "I have to be strong." And just like that, childhood starts slipping away. Psychologically, this often comes from something called parentification. That's when a child takes on roles meant for adults. Emotionally, they become the listener, the fixer, the peacemaker. Practically, they may take care of siblings, manage responsibilities, or handle stress beyond their years. Their brain adapts because it has to. Studies in developmental psychology show that when children face early responsibility or instability, their brains prioritize survival skills over play and exploration. They become hyper-aware, hyper-responsible, hyper-mature, but at a cost. These children don't always look hurt. In fact, they often look impressive. They're calm in chaos, independent, emotionally intelligent. But look closer. They struggle to relax. They overthink simple decisions. They feel guilty for needing help. And here's something subtle. They don't just take responsibility. They carry everything, even things that were never theirs. When a child grows up too fast, they don't just lose time. They build a different emotional blueprint. They learn love equals responsibility. Safety equals control worth equals usefulness. So later in life, they don't ask, "Am I happy?" They ask, "Am I needed?" They don't rest. They earn rest. And even then, it never feels enough. Now imagine this child, grown up. They enter relationships.at first. They seem perfect, supportive, understanding, always there. But slowly, patterns appear. They overgive. They overstay. They tolerate too much. Why? Because deep down, they're still playing the same role. The fixer, the caretaker, the one who holds everything together. And here's the painful irony. They're amazing at taking care of others, but have no idea how to take care of themselves. Ask them for help? They'll hesitate. Open up emotionally? They'll downplay it. Because somewhere inside, there's a belief, if I become a burden, I'll lose everything. So they stay strong, even when they're breaking. Here's something people don't talk about enough. These individuals often grieve a childhood they never had. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly. In moments like watching others be carefree, feeling out of place in fun situations, not knowing how to just let go. They weren't taught how to be kids. So now, they don't know how to be free. But this isn't just a story of loss, because growing up too fast also creates something powerful: resilience. These individuals can handle pressure like few others. They read people deeply. They adapt quickly. They become wise beyond their years. And sometimes that wisdom helps others survive too. But strength doesn't cancel pain, and being strong all the time is exhausting. Healing begins with a simple but uncomfortable realization. Just because you had to grow up early doesn't mean you have to stay that way forever. You can learn to rest. You can learn to receive. You can learn to be soft again. But it feels unnatural at first, almost wrong, because your brain is wired for survival, not peace. Healing looks like small, strange moments. Saying no without guilt, asking for help, and not apologizing for it. Doing something just because it makes you happy, not because it's useful. Adi feels unfamiliar. But that's the point. You're not becoming someone new. You're reclaiming someone you never got to be. Here's a thought to sit with. Maybe you weren't too mature. Maybe you were just forced to adapt. There's a difference. And understanding that difference can change how you see yourself. You weren't broken. You were protecting yourself with the only tools you had. So if you've ever felt like you had to be strong too early, you had to figure things out alone, you had to grow up before you were ready, just know this. You didn't miss your chance to be whole. You're still allowed to slow down. You're still allowed to feel. You're still allowed to be human. Because growing up too fast doesn't mean you have to stay that way forever. If this made you pause or reflect, maybe share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more videos that explore the hidden psychology behind human behavior, you already know what to do.